Bases loaded, one out. Into left field, base hit. In comes Ramirez, and the Indians win game one.
It was another postseason appearance for the Cleveland Indians, something fans had come to expect during the 90s, a decade which sparked the rebirth of baseball on the North Coast. But it would be the last postseason with Dick Jacobs at the helm. Jacobs, having owned the team since 1986, was ready to sell. After watching Chardon attorney Lawrence J. Dolan attempt to purchase the Cleveland Browns, then the Cincinnati Reds, Jacobs knew he had a buyer, and exactly the type of buyer he sought. A fellow Clevelander who could be trusted with the stewardship of this proud franchise.
Mr. Larry Dolan, on behalf of all Cleveland Indians fans, we say welcome to your very first opening day.
All right, so here it is. Dick Jacobs with the ceremonial first pitch, and Larry Dolan hops on it, quick as a cat at home plate, the former catcher for St. Ignatius.
I think for the public, it was somebody they really didn't know, a lawyer in Chardon. So there was a little bit of a process there. Larry had to tell his story, had to get in front of the cameras.
Part of the motivation in buying the team is to have an impact on the city.
Growing up on Essex Road in Cleveland Heights, young Larry Dolan and his friends spent their summers playing baseball on any field they could find. From a once empty lot at Essex and Stratford to the nearby fields of Cleveland Heights High School. And Larry's favorite team was the same one that generations of Dolans before him grew up rooting for, his hometown Cleveland Indians.
The one thing about the Dolan family, they are purely Cleveland. Paul's great-grandfather grew up in Cleveland, so the roots run very deep.
Those roots extended to Cleveland's St. Ignatius High School. Larry, a member of the class of 1950. He was a fullback on the Wildcats football team and a catcher on the baseball team, his natural leadership skills serving him well as he directed the action from his post behind home plate. Decades later, Larry once again found himself behind the plate, this time in the owner's suite with wife Eva at his side and still as big a fan as ever. With son Paul also leaving the firm to join Dad in his new venture, the Indians were now a family affair and one of the few sports franchises where the primary family business was the team.
What was clear from the start was that their entire family had an unbelievable passion for the game of baseball, and that they were deeply rooted in the Cleveland Indians. That passion wasn't just for baseball, but for the Indians.
Larry and Paul knew they'd need to guide the organization through an inevitable transition following the success of the 90s. The steady climb back to contention in the American League was highlighted by savvy trades and the preaching of patience. The Dolans have always sought to avoid a one and done, aiming instead to field a competitive team every year.
The plan, to the extent that it's specific, is to win, but it's to win for the long term.
They've always taken the view that our goal isn't to be just to win in any one year and then not field a competitive team for a while. We really feel a responsibility to try to build a team that our fans can support year in and year out.
You look at the last 10 years, we have 7 consecutive winning seasons. We have 4 straight 90-plus winning seasons. That speaks to consistency, stability, and how that equals success.
The Indians are highly regarded across the world of sports for that culture of stability, one that empowers everyone in the Cleveland Indians family.
They're consistent, they're patient.
They enjoy the growth and development process of the people who work for them.
They allow people to be the very best that they can be.
That really begins with the Dolan family and what they believe is important. That starts with treating people well and caring deeply about everyone in the building.
But perhaps outside the building is where the Dolan family has made the greatest impact. When Paul officially took control of the franchise in 2013, he had already been mentored well on the business side, and in the spirit of giving, by Mom and Dad. He and wife Karen today serve Northeast Ohio in almost immeasurable ways, and whenever possible, outside the view of the camera lens.
They've reached out and they see an article in the paper or somebody needs help, and I'll see something in the mail that says, hey, help this person out. You know, and it's just the way they live and move. They have philanthropy and caring in their hearts.
The thing that sticks out most for me is how responsive they are to needs when they see them, and they seek absolutely no credit. As a matter of fact, if they can do it anonymously, they'll do it.
Again, it goes back to that great trait of being humble. They are incredibly generous within the community, but they don't like that to be talked about. It's not about them first and foremost. It is first and foremost about this community.
Paul, as Dad did before him, serves on numerous civic boards and has chaired almost every major institution in town. Year after year, the Dolan family and the Indians organization faithfully support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Ohio, the Harvest for Hunger campaign, and Providence House initiatives for at-risk children.
The cycling aspect of this event definitely appealed to Paul.
Paul co-chairs and rides in the annual Velisano Bike to Cure to benefit cancer research at Cleveland Clinic.
He has participated every year and typically will do the 2-day ride. So I don't think a lot of people realize that the owner of the Cleveland Indians is biking 200 miles in 2 days, and that's pretty cool.
Of course, that's not the only way the Indians owner keeps himself active. The tribe's Fields for the Future initiative gives Cleveland ball fields complete makeovers, with Paul providing not only the funds, but the labor. When budget cuts threatened to eliminate high school baseball and softball in the Cleveland schools during the infancy of the Dolan ownership, Larry decided he could not let that happen. Nearly 20 years later, the team continues to fully fund every public high school baseball and softball program in the district, while at the same time, the Indians' partnership with the Cleveland Baseball Federation is enabling thousands of city kids to play baseball and softball in summer rec leagues at absolutely no cost.
You know, like some sort of way, jerseys and bats and coaches pop up, but you don't understand like the process. And then when you get here and you kind of see, you know, the resources that we put behind this to make sure we have good coaches, to make sure we have good fields, to make sure we have uniforms for kids, like it's unbelievable, and it just makes me more proud to work here at the Cleveland Indians.
It should come as no surprise that the Indians organization would invest so heavily to ensure that America's pastime remains accessible to Northeast Ohio kids. The team is, after all, just following the lead of a man who never forgot his own time growing up, just looking for a ball game and a field to play on. The Dolans are now the longest tenured owners in franchise history, and you can still find Larry at the ballpark most nights, taking in all the action from his favorite spot, in a seat behind home plate.
We were told early on, if you go up to the suite to watch a ball game with him, wait until between innings because he's still looking at the game like he's sitting behind the plate.
The fact that they run this as a family business is a huge part of the success and is such a great fit with who we are as a community.
You know, I know that they often shy away from that limelight, but you know, we want to thank them and we want to show them how much we appreciate all that they do and how special they are. This is just some small way of showing them that appreciation, and they deserve it.